In the dark corridors of our minds, a persistent shadow lingers, self-doubt. It festers in the quiet spaces where our thoughts become whispers of uncertainty. This is a shadow that grows with every step we take, every dream we attempt to pursue, and every obstacle we face. But what if I told you that this shadow is not as invincible as it seems? What if you could take that doubt, that insidious voice, and silence it forever? The ancients knew this shadow well. The philosophers of old faced it too, and yet they walked forward with an unshakable sense of purpose. They did not look for fleeting comforts or the approval of others. No. Their path was one of internal mastery, a mastery forged through the teachings of Stoicism. And today, as we stand at the crossroads of modernity and ancient wisdom, we too can walk this path. Self-doubt is not a foe to be fought externally. It's not a mountain to be scaled or a battle to be won in the physical realm. No, self-doubt lives within us, and thus, it can only be conquered within. Stoicism, that ancient philosophy passed down through the hands of Epictetus, Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and others, offers us the tools we need to build an impenetrable fortress of the mind. Through its teachings, we learn that self-doubt is not an enemy to be feared but an opportunity to cultivate unbreakable confidence. The nature of self-doubt, a false perception. At its core, self-doubt is a distortion. It is not rooted in the reality of who we are, but in the stories we tell ourselves about who we are not. And this distortion, if left unchecked, can lead to paralysis. But the Stoics remind us of a profound truth: we are not our thoughts. We are not our emotions. We are the masters of how we respond to them. Epictetus, the former slave-turned-philosopher, spoke of this in his Enchiridion when he said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Self-doubt, in this light, is not something that happens to us. It is not imposed by the outside world. It is a reaction, our reaction, to the challenges we face. We doubt because we allow ourselves to doubt. We listen to the voice of uncertainty because we choose to listen. This is the first step towards silencing self-doubt, the recognition that it is a choice. And in recognizing this, we reclaim our power. The Stoics teach us that we always have the power to choose how we respond, no matter the circumstances. And with this realization comes liberation. But this is not enough. Understanding that self-doubt is a choice is the beginning. What comes next is the cultivation of inner strength, the kind of strength that leaves no room for doubt. Fortitude in the face of adversity. In Stoicism, adversity is not an obstacle, it is an opportunity. It is through adversity that we grow, that we test the limits of our resilience, and that we forge unbreakable confidence. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor, captured this perfectly in his Meditations. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. When we face challenges, our instinct might be to recoil, to second-guess ourselves, to wonder whether we are capable. But Marcus's words remind us that these challenges are not to be feared, they are the very path to our growth. Each obstacle is an invitation to become stronger. Every moment of self-doubt is an opportunity to practice fortitude. And what is fortitude, if not the refusal to yield in the face of hardship? The Stoic understands that life will throw us into the flames again and again. But it is in those flames that we temper our character. As Seneca said, fire tests gold, suffering tests brave men. We must welcome these tests, not shy away from them, for it is through them that we become unbreakable. In moments of self-doubt, we must remind ourselves that doubt is merely a flame. And just as gold becomes purer in fire, so too does our character become more resolute in the face of doubt. The power of self-control. Confidence, in its truest form, does not come from external validation. It does not come from the praise of others or the accumulation of achievements. No. True confidence arises from self-control, from the knowledge that we are the masters of our own minds and destinies. Epictetus taught that the only things within our control are our thoughts, actions, and reactions. Everything else, what others think of us, what fate has in store, the outcomes of our efforts, lies beyond our grasp. This distinction is crucial because self-doubt often arises when we focus on what we cannot control. We doubt ourselves when we fear failure. We doubt ourselves when we worry about how others will perceive us. But in doing so, we surrender our power. The Stoic way is different. We focus only on what is within our control, our efforts, our virtues, our responses. And in doing so, we free ourselves from the chains of uncertainty. As Epictetus said, make the best use of what is in your power, and take the rest as it happens. When we understand that our role is to control only what we can, our thoughts, our actions, our character, then self-doubt has no foothold. We no longer worry about what lies beyond us, because we have mastered what lies within. Embracing the present moment. One of the greatest sources of self-doubt is the constant fixation on the future, the what-ifs that plague our minds. What if I fail? What if I'm not good enough? What if everything goes wrong? These questions pull us away from the present moment, away from the task at hand, and into a spiral of anxiety. But the Stoics remind us of the importance of living in the now. Marcus Aurelius, in his Reflections, often wrote about the brevity of life and the fleeting nature of time. He said, "Confine yourself to the present." This is not merely a call to mindfulness, it is a call to action. In the present moment, self-doubt cannot exist. It is only when we project ourselves into the uncertainties of the future that doubt takes root. By anchoring ourselves in the now, by focusing fully on the task before us, we strip self-doubt of its power. We act with purpose, with clarity, with full presence. And in doing so, we build confidence, not in some distant outcome, but in our ability to take the next step. Overcoming destructive emotions. Self-doubt is not merely a thought, it is an emotion, a destructive one. It feeds on fear, anxiety, and insecurity. But the Stoics offer us a way to transcend such emotions. They teach us that emotions, like thoughts, are not to be trusted blindly. They are fleeting, often irrational, and ultimately within our control. Seneca, in his work on anger, wrote extensively about the dangers of allowing emotions to rule our lives. But his teachings apply equally to all destructive emotions, including self-doubt. He said, "No man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity. For he is not permitted to prove himself." Self-doubt, like anger, arises when we give in to emotion rather than reason. It clouds our judgment, weakens our resolve, and blinds us to our true potential. The Stoic practice of apatheia, the cultivation of inner calm and emotional control, offers a solution. Through rational reflection and self-discipline, we can rise above the emotional turbulence of doubt. We can look at our fears objectively, assess them with a clear mind, and dismiss them as illusions. This is not to say that we suppress our emotions. Rather, we master them. By practicing apatheia, we cultivate a state of inner peace, a peace that cannot be shaken by the storms of self-doubt. The role of virtue. At the heart of Stoicism is the concept of virtue. For the Stoics, virtue is the highest good, the foundation of all moral and ethical action. And it is through the cultivation of virtue that we silence self-doubt. Virtue, in the Stoic sense, is not about being goody in the superficial sense. It is about living in accordance with reason and nature, about striving to be the best version of ourselves in every moment. When we live virtuously, we have no reason to doubt ourselves, because we are acting in alignment with our highest nature. The Stoics identified 4 cardinal virtues: wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. These virtues serve as the pillars of a life well lived. And they are also the antidote to self-doubt. Wisdom allows us to see the world as it truly is, free from the distortions of fear and insecurity. Courage gives us the strength to face our challenges head-on, without hesitation or retreat. Justice reminds us of our duty to ourselves and others, to act with integrity and honor. And temperance teaches us to control our desires and impulses, to live with self-discipline and restraint. When we embody these virtues, self-doubt loses its grip. We no longer question our worth, because we are living in accordance with the highest principles. We no longer fear failure, because we know that true success lies not in the outcome, but in the virtue of our actions. The Stoic approach to confidence. True confidence, the kind that cannot be shaken, is not built on the shifting sands of external achievements or the fleeting opinions of others. It is built on the solid foundation of self-mastery, virtue, and reason. The Stoics understood this deeply. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, often reflected on the nature of confidence. He knew, as we must come to know, that confidence is not a gift bestowed by the world. It is a product of our inner work. He wrote, "The tranquility that comes when you stop caring what they say, or think, or do. Only what you do." Confidence is not about being free from doubt, it is about being free from the need for validation. We silence self-doubt not by proving ourselves to the world, but by proving ourselves to ourselves. We do this through the daily practice of Stoic principles, through discipline, reflection, and the pursuit of virtue. Each day is an opportunity to strengthen our character, to become more resilient, more courageous, more wise. And in doing so, we build a confidence that is unbreakable, because it is rooted not in the external, but in the internal. A call to action. As we stand at the threshold of this ancient wisdom, let us not merely read these words, but embody them. The path of Stoicism is not one of passive reflection, but of active transformation. It calls us to confront our self-doubt with the full force of our reason, to rise above our emotions, and to live with unshakable confidence. We are not the sum of our doubts. We are the masters of our destiny, the architects of our character. And through the teachings of the Stoics, we have the tools to silence self-doubt forever. So, let us walk this path together. Let us cultivate the virtues of wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. Let us face our challenges with fortitude and embrace the present moment with full awareness. And in doing so, let us build a confidence that cannot be broken. For in the end, we are not defined by our doubts, but by how we rise above them. This is not just the story of Stoicism, it is the story of you. Of us. Together, we can overcome self-doubt. Together, we can forge a life of unbreakable confidence. The choice is ours. The path is before us. Let us walk it with purpose. Conclusion: the Stoic legacy of unbreakable confidence. As we come to the close of this journey, we realize that the shadows of self-doubt are not as powerful as they once seemed. In the light of Stoic wisdom, these doubts shrink, revealing their true nature as fleeting emotions and irrational fears. We are no longer bound by them. Through the teachings of the great Stoic philosophers, Epictetus, Seneca, Marcus Aurelius, we have learned that confidence is not some distant, unreachable ideal, but a practice rooted in the way we choose to live every day. The Stoics have shown us the path. Self-doubt is not defeated by fighting the external world, but by conquering the inner one. Through fortitude, self-control, and the relentless pursuit of virtue, we build a foundation that cannot be shaken by failure, fear, or the judgment of others. Our confidence grows from the understanding that we control only our thoughts, actions, and responses, not the outcomes, not the opinions of others, not the winds of fate. This clarity brings freedom, and with freedom, we find strength. In this practice, we come to embody what the Stoics call living in accordance with nature. We accept that life is full of trials, that adversity is inevitable. But rather than seeing these as reasons to doubt ourselves, we see them as opportunities to grow stronger. Every obstacle becomes a stepping stone, every doubt a chance to sharpen our inner resolve. We silence self-doubt not with noise, but with clarity, discipline, and reason. We cultivate a confidence that cannot be broken because it is not dependent on anything outside of us. It is rooted deep within, in the very essence of who we are and what we choose to stand for. This, then, is the Stoic legacy, unbreakable confidence, forged through adversity, sustained by virtue, and grounded in the unwavering belief that we are the masters of our own lives. Now, the path is before us. Will you take the first step? Will you choose to walk this path of inner mastery, to silence the doubts that hold you back, and to live with the kind of unshakable confidence that can only come from within? The choice, as always, is yours.